In this episode, we've reached the end of Season 1, and we're going to be building this awesome, miniaturized version of the classic farmhouse table and bench. Alright, let's get started. Hi, and welcome to today's episode. I'm really excited about this one because it's our season finale, Episode 7. We've had 6 other episodes behind us, and now we're at the final season finale. And I just want to sincerely thank every single one of you who have watched the very first episode up till now. It has meant a lot to me. I appreciate all the comments and the feedback. It's been great. And if you want a season 2, please put in the description below saying, yes, we want a season 2. So you guys know this whole series has taken me almost 2 months to actually make and produce. It's a lot of time. But I will consider making a second season if it's something that you guys want. All right, well, let's talk about today's project. We're gonna be building a mini farmhouse table. Well, what's the difference between that and a regular farmhouse table? Not really anything. It's just a smaller version. So we're gonna be building the table and the bench. To build this project, you're gonna need a few things. The first thing that you're gonna need is a 1x6. You're gonna need a few of those, and then some 2x4s. I'll put a link in the description below of all the materials and things that you need to make this project, as well as the plans. All right, well, let's head over to my table and lay everything out. All right, so we're over here near my table, and I have a 2x4 right here. And the first thing that we need to cut are the legs to the table and to the bench. So I'm gonna take my tape measure, mark those out, and then we're gonna go over to my miter saw and make the cuts. So I've cut the first leg of my table. Here it is. I have a few more of these to make. Then I have to cut the legs to the bench. I'm not gonna show you all the details of how I'm gonna do all that. Just check the description below and it'll show you all the links and dimensions that you need to make this project. So I'm gonna continue cutting a whole bunch of these, and I'm gonna meet you over at my table saw where I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do next. All right, so we're over here near my table saw, and I have cut the legs for my bench and for my table, and they're sitting right here. Our next step is to take these and shave off just a little bit on each side. Now, this is because I don't like the bevels that naturally happen on 2x4s, and I want my edges to be nice and crisp. Again, this is optional. You don't have to do it. You can skip right to the next step, which is actually cutting your 2x4 right in half. Well, I'm gonna shave the edges and cut my 2x4 in half, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do next. All right, so I've made our legs. They're right here. I'm gonna put them aside for now and talk about what we're gonna do next. The next thing that we're gonna make is a skirt. A skirt is something that holds your legs in place that your top attaches to. I'm gonna use a 1x3 since I have a lot of these laying around in my shop, and we're gonna cut them to the right length, and then we're gonna drill some pocket holes in either side of this. That's how we're gonna attach it to our leg. All right, so let's go cut these down, drill those holes, and then I'll show you how we're gonna attach everything. All right, I drilled my pocket holes. It's now time to assemble everything. To assemble this project, we're gonna do it right here on my table, but I need to go grab a few things. You need to grab coarse Kreg jig screws that are 1 1/4 inch long, and you'll need a drill. So let me go grab that and we'll start assembling these frames. All right, I got my box of screws and I have my drill. Now it's time to attach the skirt. But first, let me explain how skirts are supposed to be attached, at least in the way that I believe that looks best. Now, in order to attach a skirt, you want this skirt to sit perfectly in the middle of your leg. Now, I know from this edge to this edge is exactly ½ an inch. So in order to get the alignment perfect, I'm just using a sheet of plywood that I have laying around, and I'm gonna lay this on my table, and this is gonna lay right next to it. And it's gonna make that ½ inch gap that I need. And then the skirt is gonna sit on top of this, and then I'm gonna drill straight in. That way, I know the alignment works every single time. All right, so that's how I'm gonna assemble this frame for the table and for the benches. So we have completed the frames for the seats and for the table. Our next step is to create the top and the seats. We're going to use 1x6s to do that. Let me go grab them and take them over to the miter saw and tell you what we're going to do. Alright, so I have my 1x6 right here, and let me talk about the top and the design. A tabletop needs to have a lip or an overhang. I decided that mine is going to have a ½ inch overhang all the way around, but you can make yours whatever you want it to be. But by my calculations, I'm going to need 5 of these planks for the top, and I'm going to cut them right now. Alright, that looks good. So now what we have to do is we have to attach these boards to the top. And to do that, I'm gonna create a little bridge or a connector on the bottom that's gonna go underneath here that we can nail into or screw. Let me bring the camera a little closer and show you what we're gonna do. I'll take everything off the table and lay it out. Alright, so what you're looking at is the bottom of the top. And what we're going to do is we're going to use some strips of wood like this and lay them out, and we're going to nail them in so you have one solid piece for your top. We're then going to take this, flip it back over, and attach it to our frame using some pocket holes and Kreg jig screws. Alright. Now that the top is made, we have to create some pocket holes in our skirt to hold that top down. What we're going to do to use that is a pocket jig. Let me go grab that right now. Alright, so I've grabbed my pocket hole jig. This is a R3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create pocket holes all around the skirt for both the table and for the benches. You'll need a little clamp to do this. So it's simply, we're just going to attach it and just create a whole bunch of pocket holes all the way around. Alright, we finished drilling our pocket holes. It's now time to take our frames outside and paint them. I'm going to go with white for all of the frames, and for the top and the seats, we're going to go with a nice stain. Once that dries, we're going to take it back in our shop and do the final assembly. Alright, so I finished painting the frames and I've finished staining the tops. Everything's dry and ready to be assembled. Let's head on over to my workbench and show you how we're going to attach these. Okay, the next step is for me just to take some Kreg jig screws and screw in these pocket holes, and then the top will be installed. Alright, the tabletop is installed. The next step is to install the bench seats. Once we do that, I'll show you what it looks like in its final resting place. Alright, so we are here at the end of season 1 of How You Can Make It. And I can't tell you how much fun this series was to make. I had a lot of fun doing it. It took about 2 months to do. I think some of my favorite things were just the repetition and the making and just saying to myself, what would you guys like? So thank you for all the support and all the thumbs up and subscriptions and comments. They mean a lot to me. If you want a season 2, I can't promise anything, but post it in the comments below, and if I get enough of a response, I'll definitely consider it. Well, you know, if you have any questions about anything that I make or just about what I do in general, post that in the comments as well. I'd be more than happy to respond to you. Well, here we are at the end. Once again, I sincerely thank you, and hit that subscribe button and ding that bell if you want to get notified, because you never know what I'm coming out with next. Till next time, guys, I'll see you later.